Channel6.ca, supported by
Get ready for a renovation sale at Bellner Leisure Products. As we work to expand our service bays and offer you even more services, we want to get you in on our great sale of fifth wheels and trailers. Bellner Leisure Products, the RV store in the corner with a fountain, Red Deer.
So is the funding not there in writing for all that work on the south end of town, or is it just you're not sure that it's going to be funded?
So I think with respect to that, they did make a specific reference in terms of capital injections. And the sentence subsequent to that, they did place priority on roads and education infrastructure, for example. So there, from the detail that we've been able to see just over the past hour, we haven't yet to see the specific allocation for the south access into the city. However, because there is a capital injection into that, there's specific reference to roadway infrastructure and particularly to interchanges. We are cautiously optimistic that that project will be in there. Having said that, though, that certainly is on our list that we will need to elevate to our MLAs and to the minister if it's not there.
I think it's fair to say that there are some wins for the community, particularly the allocation to Red Deer College in support of the Canada Winter Games. We were specifically looking for that. But having said that, we really do need to look at the details to determine not just the impact to Red Deer in terms of what they have specifically allocated to Red Deer, but there's also the direct and indirect implications that provincial budgets have on both our capital and operating budgets once we get a more specific sense of the numbers and how those translate into the dollars and cents for Red Deerians when we are doing our own budgeting on the municipal property tax bill.
As I said, there is some concern for MSI beyond this year. Can you just reiterate that?
So the allocation for MSI is whole for the 2015-2016 budget year, which is obviously good news with respect to our existing capital budget for this year. Having said that, there is allocation to MSI in the future, but it does appear to be a reduction, which obviously, as the predominant source of core infrastructure funding for not only the City of Red Deer, but municipalities across the province, we are heavily reliant on that grant program in order to build our community.
How much did you get from it last time?
The number that we basically got for this year was 24 million, and really that's been made up both of the ongoing funding and the one-time. And the projections that we see is that next year in the 2016-17 budget, it will actually increase to make up for that one time, and then over the 5-year plan reduce again. So it's a bit of a difficulty in trying to project what there might be over the long term, but at least we know that what we have currently in our budget is pretty accurate in terms of what's been confirmed in this budget, and that is, of course, good news.
Those people at home that don't understand what MSI, what does it do? Where does the money go to?
Well, the Municipal Sustainability Initiative, as it's called, is primarily for capital work and funds a number of our capital projects. And in fact, a number of capital projects that are underway right now are dependent on the projection that there was in the budget released last April. So it's very welcome to see that that funding is whole.
And do you have any comments, Tara, on the broader initiatives, getting away from the flat tax and things like that, and what they say is going to be a focus on job creation and diversification?
I think ultimately with this budget, it really is a carry through on the interim supply bill that they tabled earlier this year. When you see their 3 priorities, particularly around health, education, and human services, around balancing the budget in the future and diversifying the economy. In all of our meetings with representatives from government, they've been very consistent in that message. So I think with respect to that, in the fact that it is a carry through on that interim supply bill, I don't think there were any particular surprises around the themes, and the messages that we've been getting from the government are consistent with that. And I think with respect to some of those examples, such as progressive income tax and some of the taxes levied on luxury tax and those types of things, I think that those were fully anticipated.
So kind of overall, basically, you guys will be able to plan for 2016, but some of that longer term forecasting is still kind of up in the air right now.
Well, I think we'll take a stab at it. I think with respect to that, I think, again, the tabling of this budget is a carry forward of the interim supply bill. This will now take us through, ultimately what it means is that we fulfill the commitments that we made to Red Deerians through the City of Red Deer's 2015 capital and operating budgets. But again, this will carry us through until March or so when they table the next subsequent budget. And certainly in the interim time between them, we'll be meeting with members of the government looking for these specific projects until that point. And then following that, we'll of course be watching their long-term plans and the impacts that the long game will have on the City of Red Deer. I'll go to Craig.
So I think that what we, of course, hope is that we get confirmation pretty soon, beyond the current year's budget. Because we're about to enter the budget approvals for 2016, our actual calendar year. So we don't have any confirmed numbers for that. But this is a step in the right direction. We have some projections which match the numbers we're working with. And what we hope is that after this government's been in for a while and tables its budget in April, municipalities will be into some kind of partnership where we can have an idea of longer term funding so that we can do our capital plans over a 10-year period or 5-year period with much more predictability. So as I say, this is a first step. This confirms what we have in the budget right now. It confirms a few projections which help us with planning for next year. Beyond that, as the Mayor has said, there are a lot of questions. There is also the question that the former Minister of Municipal Affairs announced that there will be a complete revisit of municipal funding for capital. And that revisit or a new calibration of the grant program could either be to the advantage or disadvantage of middle-sized cities. So we'll need to advocate very strongly that we are the level of city size that falls in between what is a big city initiative and small. And so sometimes we feel that we're kind of caught between, and we'll have to advocate very strongly for cities our size. And we are now the third largest, and we have capital needs that are similar to the big cities in some respect.
You're referencing if Edmonton and Calgary were to establish city charters, basically?
With the city charters, we don't know what, of course, those city charters mean. And that, of course, creates a certain level of uncertainty. But it's important that we begin to establish a partnership with the government for middle-sized cities. And that's sometimes it's thought that we don't have the same needs as the metropolitan areas who advocate very strongly on their behalf.
The City of Red Deer had sponsored a resolution before the floor of the Alberta Urban Municipalities Association, and we received strong support on the floor for that, recognizing that FCSS had not received any additional funding for approximately 8 years. So it's good news. It's consistent with our advocacy position with respect to the new allocation for FCSS. We know that will translate into local dollars for those preventative programs that are funded in Red Deer and region through FCSS. What's unknown at this time, however, is because there is a required municipal matching portion of what specific dollar amount will be allocated to Red Deer and region and what that 20% municipal matching portion for Red Deer means, because that has a direct implication for our 2016 and subsequent operating budgets, which of course will have a direct impact on our municipal tax levy for our citizens as well.